Thank you, Mr. President. I think today is a significant day in the life of the Pan-African Parliament. And I'm sure that the founders of this union, the Julius Nyerere, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Robert Mugabe, will be shaking in their grave. The union that they founded today, more or less, has put some limitation onto itself. But be it as it may, I'm confident that however gradual that this march will be, eventually we'll get to our destination. My name is Annoh-Dompreh. I'm coming from Ghana. Mr. President, at the risk of being repetitive, let me say that we need to sound optimistic and not being pessimistic. I recall when we had, Mr. President, I proceed on a presumption that our representatives are fully representing the African Union. That is a reasonable presumption I want to start from. Because we want to vent, not in vain, but we want to vent with an ultimate aim of changing the status quo. We want to vent with an ultimate aim of setting a signal clear, not only to the AU, but to the entire continent, that we've come of age. And it's time for us to be recognized as such. Mr. President, it's important we don't overly simplify the matter. What is at stake is critical. And I hear colleagues with the greatest of respect making reference to budget. The matter at stake is not just about budget. Budget is a microscopic aspect of it. It's just one aspect of the entire greater concern that we are talking about. And not back our mandate of oversight. That is why the PAP was formed. And nobody should tell me any theories. That is what it is. From whichever way you view it, we have an oversight. It's backed by protocol. Nobody will take it away from us. We will demand that. And we'll make that suggestion to you with the greatest of respect, that let that oversight powers be given back to PAP. That is my first suggestion. Again, before the formation of PAP, we are aware of the existence of the PRC and other agencies who were working in line and in sync with the PRC. That was before the formation of the PAP. So in the wisdom of the framers of the new protocol that manages the functionality of the PAP says, the PAP now will assume those functions. As we speak, those functions are from the African Union are listening. Because if you are not going to work and you are not going to listen to us, we will make you listen to us. Because for a long time we've been talking about theories. It is time for us to look at you in your faces and tell you the fact. We will tell you the truth. And we hope you listen. First one, not according to any other, is our oversight. First one is our oversight. Mr. President, if you go through our rules of engagement and the protocol, any parliament, as you rightly reference, has an oversight. And as such, according to the founders of this parliament, also talked through about it and suggested that we should have an oversight rule. Our oversight has been given to a body. We are in competition with the PRC over oversight. Why should it be the case? Amend our rules of engagement. There were many of us who sounded pessimistic. It was not going to work. We will not succeed. But I'm proud to be associated with that process. That today, when the history is being told, it will be said that once upon a time, the Pan-African Parliament engaged in a consistent and repeated effort and amended its rules of procedure. Regardless of all the pessimists. And two things that the union did, which I'm very proud. Mr. President, these are my introductory remarks. Were the reform of our rules of engagement. And then for a long time, we have been sojourning and considering the possibility of bringing together the PAP and the PRC. Because the PAP and the PRC were working away from each other, which shouldn't be the case. are still being performed by the agencies of the PRC and the AUC. Why? Why? So, I don't know who is touching this microphone. So, that function, Mr. President, with respect, that function that is being performed by agencies of the AUC and the PRC must be relinquished and given back to the PAP. Finito, simple as that. The legal brains will tell you it's simplicity, it's as simple as that. Then proceeding forward, we've also heard about the executive, managerial, administrative functions of the PAP. And that is where the functionality of budgeting comes in. It cannot be the case unless, of course, we are not serious, we don't know what we are about. Give us those functions because this is well defined in our rules of procedure. Check Rule 17 is clearly stipulated and is there. So, Mr. President, I think that at the risk of being repetitive, I don't want to overly repeat myself. We must get this point very clear. The PRC, the AUC, the AU, the PAP are supposed to work in sync. This matter will not be repeated again. I hope today will be a day that all of us will rally around and say that enough is enough. We cannot come back here 1 year after and be talking about the same thing. Mr. President, I cannot sit down, but I want to commend you highly. Your good self and the Bureau. I recall the day we elected you. There were many who doubted it. The Bureau has justified your inclusion. You have proven that indeed the confidence we reimpose in you is justified. And we want to make an appeal to the African Union and all the agencies of African Union that they've gone where the past. When PAP will come here and we'll be fighting. PAP comes to a session and we are fighting. For a long time we are not fighting again. We as an institution are making conscious effort to reform ourselves. That is why we change our rules of procedure. That is why for a long time, for many, many years, the PAP and the PRC were not meeting. But through the leadership of our president, the new Bureau, they struck that understanding. And there is a cross-fertilization and a working together. We beg you in the name of God. I'm concluding. Representative of African Union, we beg you in the name of God. And I see you taking note. Don't. Rule 17 is clearly stipulated and is there. So, Mr. President, I think that at the risk of being repetitive, I don't want to overly repeat myself. We must get this point very clear. The PRC, the AUC, the AU, the PAP are supposed to work in sync. This matter will not be repeated again. I hope today will be a day that all of us will rally around and say that enough is enough. We cannot come back here 1 year after and be talking about the same thing. Mr. President, I cannot sit down, but I want to commend you highly. Your good self and the Bureau. I recall the day we